Good morning, all. Honorable Principal Sir, all my colleagues, and all the students for watching the presentation. Friends, when we are talking about national education policy, first we need to think why it was a much needed change to introduce new education policy 2020. Before directly exploring the key aspects, significant changes which are incorporated in National Education Policy 2020, I would like to explore you what were the earlier educational policies. Friends, if you see the history of national educational policies in India, then you may come to the point that after almost 35 years, new educational policy is introduced. If we see what was earlier educational policy, then very easily you can guess what is introduced in new educational policy. Friends, here I'm exploring my presentation on NEP 2020, a road ahead for SVKM's Institute of Pharmacy Dhule. As I said earlier, why the earlier educational policies became obsolete, why they become outdated or scrapped out. Friend, first point that comes here for discussion is what in earlier educational policies there was ignorance to the intervention of disruptive technology and its role. Means if you take under consideration of 1985, the latest old educational policy, then you can see over there that no role of technology was considered over there. Means all earlier from the 1965 to 1985, whatever educational policies were there, they never thought about technology. And you know that today, without technology, we cannot exist. Though we say that technology is everywhere, but friends, we have to keep in mind that technology is what just a tool. Its use that can be in your hand. Though we say that technology can be there in education, but one thing you have to keep in mind that technology never change the or never replace the teachers, but technology at the hands of a good or great teacher can be transformative. So that transformative role of technology we have to incorporate in education. Second point, why the earlier educational policy become obsolete or outdated is what they fully depend only on what stand alone or unitary education. Means suppose that after 12th, if a particular candidate has selected art as his discipline or her discipline, then throughout his life, he has to travel through art faculty only. But when we are living in the hybrid world, where the world has become a global village, there going beyond particular faculty, particular discipline is the must need. And this new educational policy has introduced that hybrid need. Means it's not journey to multiple bringing multiple disciplines together, but going beyond that. So third point is what earlier educational policies, they endorsed what increased commercialization of education. And here in new NEP 2020, you can see a robust mechanism to curb the commercialization of education. Then when it comes to continuing and lifelong sustainable education, you can find the inadequacies in earlier educational policies. They were not inadequate, they were not adequate enough. But in new NEP 2020, you can continue your education as you wish because multiple exits and multiple entries are there, as our principal sir has given the reference of that. Means suppose that after 12th you have studied 1 year, then 1 year also you can get exit. Then again after 2 years here you can come in, where your 1 year that you have already spent will not be lost. You can utilize through what? Academic bank credit. And last point, that earlier the educational policies become outdated is what they paid very less attention to the human values. Here in this new educational policy 2020, you can see how human values are emphasized, how morals are emphasized and ethics are stressed. Because though in our society also we see around us that many people can be there who are at the peak of their professional career, but when it comes to their social life, they are poor. And there is a question, big question mark when it comes to their success. If they are at the peak of the success in their professional career, then why in their social or personal life they are crumbled down? So this new educational policy tries to bridge that gap between what your education and your human values, morals, and ethics. So friends, next point is what? Here in new educational policy, we can see the transfer of what? Not only transfer of knowledge, which was there in earlier educational policies. Only teacher used to come in the class and transfer of knowledge he or she used to do. But here you can see not only the transfer, but the transformation of the learner. And that is what much more needed, required skill. And next you can see here, ease of not the teacher, though we say that technology and the introduction of technology has burdened the teachers, but in fact, if you explore the new educational policy, then there you can see that it's not a ease of teaching. Technology is there for what? Ease of learning. With the help of technology, you can make your teaching learning process multi-sensory. So friend, let's move ahead and see what are the thrust areas of NEP 2020. When it comes to the first thrust areas, it sets foundation for 21st century much dreamed India by APJ. APJ always talked, I hope that you must have read him, Wings of Fire. In Wings of Fire, he dreamed about what India which should be there after 2020, and what kind of India should be there if the education system is overhauled. If educational system undergone a change, then and then only new knowledge-based constructive society can be there, because the measurement of human or measurement of development of any society can be scaled on the only ratio of education. So healthy education is introduced in this new NEP 2020. And it has set foundation for a skilled and employable India. As I said earlier, the unitary education is a bygone age. In new NEP, you can see no particular discipline or faculty will no more be sticking to one profession only. For example, as my earlier speakers have emphasized, that if someone is coming from agriculture and wish to or have a deeper interest in AI, let's say artificial intelligence, present educational system doesn't allow him or her to explore AI since he is from agriculture background. But in new NEP, that scope is there, that flexibility is there. So friend, it is what a transformative impetus, as I said earlier, to Indian educational system. It is not only the transfer from one generation to next generation, but it is what? A transformation of next generation. And as I said earlier, a flexibility is there. Everywhere flexibility is there. Multiple exits and multiple entries are there. And this flexibility is achieved through what? Unity and integrity of all kinds of education. No matter it is healthcare education, technology, science, mathematics, arts, and humanities, all are brought together under one umbrella. Later we are going to explore that. One more most important aspect for colleges is what? Graded autonomy can be there for degree granting autonomous colleges. Means no more college will be there after 2035, means 15 years onwards. Only the what name will be there of the college? Degree granting autonomous colleges, if they wish to continue their status as a college. Then, as I said earlier, the technology enabled teaching, learning, assessment will be there. And the major focus of my presentation would be on technology enabled lifelong sustainable learning. Though the skeleton of NEP 2020 would be there, but focus would be on technology. And this NEP 2020, it is much more learner centric. Earlier educational policies, if you see, they were what? Transfer centric and teacher centric. But here you can see each and everything is done in the point of view of students only. So multiple entries, multiple exits, then combination of all disciplines and faculties together. This is what the symptom of learner centric the policy. And as all my earlier speakers have focused, that it is what? Multidisciplinary. I would here like to add one more word here, that our journey will not stop to the word multidisciplinary only. It will go beyond that, making it transdisciplinary. So friends, the basic gist, the heart of NEP 2020 is what? The holistic development of the learners. So friends, when we are talking about NEP 2020 and what is there for the student, we have to think about, as I said earlier, multiple exits and multiple entries, as well as the most important, more than 20% of the weightage of this NEP 2020 is given to the assessment of learner. On the basis of what? Formative assessment and continuous comprehensive assessment. Earlier, semester end or year end examination, which was having high stakehold, but nowadays you don't have such kind of, or you won't have such kind of examinations. Your assessment would be formative and would be continuous one, but that would be comprehensive. And one more most important aspect for student is what? Student can pursue PhD immediately after undergraduate. Earlier, such kind of provision was not there. But what kind of UG? It's not 3 years UG, but 4 years multi-bachelor degree. If you could complete in new educational policy, then directly without doing any post-graduation, you can pursue your PhD. Then, as I said earlier, technology and a robust skeleton of technology is sought to erect over there in new educational policy, that is technology based teaching, learning and assessment. Then the most important aspect for students is what? The transfer of his credit through ABC, academic bank of credit transfer. Means suppose that first 2 years of your agriculture, if you have studied in this institute and next 2 years you want to study somewhere in Mumbai or Pune, then very easily you can go over there, and whatever 2 years you have spent over here will be considered over there through your academic bank credit. As today we have digital lockers, etc., where we can place our valuable documents over there. Like that, your academic years and your achievements of your academics will be stored over there, just like your e-portfolio. Then what NEP 2020 has done for students, it has abolished, as I said earlier, single stream higher education and affiliation. Friend, that affiliation word is the most important one. As you know, our college is affiliated to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Lonere. But after 2035, it won't be no more affiliated to that university. Either it will be what? Autonomous degree granting colleges or university, or otherwise constituent college. Later we are going to explore it more. Next, that is certificate or degree at your every exit. As I said earlier, after 12th, suppose that you are done, you have spent 1 year in, let's say, in pharmacy, and after 1 year you have left your pharmacy, you do not get any kind of certificate, any kind of degree, and your 1 year that you have spent in pharmacy will be lost in present educational policy. But in new educational policy, suppose that after your 12th, if you have spent 1 year in here, then when you are doing your exit, you will get a diploma degree over there. Means every stage you will get either degree or certificate. So friends, NEP is much more student-centric and learner-centric. And the most important thrust to make or establish equity in the society, its thrust is on what? Equitable and accessible education. So friends, when we are talking about the nature of courses, what kind of multidisciplinary courses would be there under NEP 2020? Undergraduate courses and postgraduate courses. Here now you are able to see. Suppose that if you are done 12th and after 12th you have spent 1 year doing your multidisciplinary undergraduate course. You have come, you have entered, and after 1 year you are taking your exit, then you will get a certificate. Suppose that you have come over there, you are done first 2 years as your undergraduate, and after your 2 years of undergraduate, if you are doing exit, then you will get diploma degree over there. First certificate of that course you will get, 1 year certificate. If you have spent 2 years, then you will get a diploma, no matter how many years you are spending somewhere else. Suppose that 1 year you have spent here, after 1 year you have taken exit, then 3 to 4 years you have spent anywhere because of your problems, personal problems. After 3 years, if you are coming back, then directly to second year you can go over there. And at second year, if you complete second year, you will get a diploma degree along with your certificate. Again, you can re-enter and re-exit to your third year. Suppose that successfully if you complete your third year, then you'll get what? Third year bachelor's degree. After completion of your third year, again you can take your exit over there, and suppose if you want to continue, you can continue, and that your fourth year would be the most important one, because after your fourth year and having that 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's degree, you can directly go for PhD, and that fourth year would be year of rigorous research, and on that basis only directly you can go towards what? PhD. So suppose that after your 12th, if you have spent 4 years, then after 4 years, you will get what kind of degree? Multidisciplinary bachelor degree with degree of research. And with that degree of research, you can directly go to your PhD. No need to involve yourself into doing post-graduation. Suppose that still, if you feel that, yes, I should continue with PG, then you took admission over there, and if you complete first year of PG, and after that, if you wish to quit, then though you quit after first year of PG, you will get PG diploma. At present, such kind of certificates and degrees provision is not there in present educational policies. So that's why I always say that it is much more student-centric, learner-centric, because at every stage, every step, the students and learners are considered over there. Then suppose that both years of your PG, if you are completed, then you will get 5-year integrated undergraduate and postgraduate degree. And with that degree, you can be anywhere doing your job. So friends, such kind of drastic changes are introduced in new educational policies. And when we are talking about institute restructuring, what kind of or in what way the institutes are restructured? Majorly 3 categories of institutes would be there. One, that is autonomous degree granting colleges, then the teaching intensive universities, then research intensive universities. When we are talking about autonomous degree granting colleges, that would be applicable to all present colleges. As I said earlier, that today ours is college, affiliated college, but after 15 years, 2035, it would be no more affiliated college. It would be what? Autonomous degree granting college. And when it comes to the university, 2 kinds of universities would be there, that is teaching intensive universities and research intensive university. And when it comes to their functioning, what would be done in research intensive university? Then next line you can read over there. The research intensive universities would be instrumental for what? Research. Their focus would be on research, but also significant emphasis would be on teaching. Teaching would be there, but extra mileage, extra attention would be given to what? Research. When it comes to teaching intensive university, wherein greater emphasis would be on teaching, but also research would play a significant role over there. So though we say that teaching intensive university where teaching would be there, but research also would be instrumental, and research intensive university, though research would be there, but teaching also would be emphasized. And when it comes to autonomous degree granting colleges, both the things would be there, that is equal emphasis would be there on teaching and research. Emphasis more would be on teaching. Sometimes if they become autonomous, then the autonomy would be granted to them when it comes to syllabi, pedagogy, andragogy, and evaluation. And on this account only, there would be autonomous one. What kind of syllabus should be there? They can have better vision and they can define their syllabi on the requirement of their area, on the requirement of their stakeholders, as well as having institute and industry interaction. Considering all these aspects, they would define their syllabi. Then the andragogy, what kind of pedagogy they need to incorporate. As they are the stakeholders, they can define in the best way. So the pedagogy freedom also given to them, and evaluation. As I said earlier, in this NEP 2020, the emphasis is given on what? Formative assessment. Earlier, in present educational policies, all three kinds of assessment is there: formative, as well as diagnostic and summative. And we focus more on summative, as we believe taking or having or conduction of exams at the end of the semester or of the end of the year. So that summative approach when it comes to evaluation of learner is bygone one, outdated one, and that is scrapped out in new educational policy. Their focus is on formative assessment. And what is that formative assessment? Formative assessment is what? In the beginning itself, you need to define on what way, in which way you are going to assess, you are going to evaluate your learners. So friends, the autonomy would be there where in key areas, which are key areas: syllabi designing, pedagogy, defining andragogy, pedagogy, and evaluation of teaching, learning, assessment. So friends, this slide is the most important one when it comes to NEP 2020. Because this is what the vision of NEP 2020. Though NEP 2020 is introduced in the present year, but it has given due course to improve upon present colleges and universities. That is 15 years time span is given if any institute or university want to transform under NEP 2020. And what is that transformation of NEP 2020 by 2035? Here you can see. First, either your today's affiliated college or university has to be autonomous degree granting colleges by 2035, or it has, if it is today's university, then your university has to transform by 2035 as teaching intensive university or research intensive university. What is teaching intensive university and what is a research intensive university? Already I have focused in my earlier slide. If it is affiliated college, then your focus must be on autonomous degree granting college. And the most important aspect when it comes to NEP 2020, by 2035, your vision, your dream should be what? From your autonomous degree granting colleges to teaching intensive university to research intensive university to reach at the peak of skeleton which is incorporated in NEP 2020, that is MERU. That is what? Multidisciplinary Education Research Institute. This is what the apex body of the education in NEP 2020. So friend, your today affiliated institute tomorrow would be what? Either autonomous degree granting college or university constituted college by 2035. And it is better always to be what? Autonomous degree granting colleges, because if we become autonomous degree granting colleges, then definitely our journey towards MERU start over there. If our focus is on teaching, then definitely we can be teaching intensive university. That doesn't mean we are completely ignoring the research. Our focus would be on research, but our more emphasis would be on teaching. And once we are teaching intensive university, then easily we can take next step or move to next stage, that is what? Research intensive university, and wherein the more focus would be on research. That doesn't mean teaching and learning process would be ignored. Both would be there. And after once we become a research intensive university, then definitely we can be MERU, that is the apex or high end of NEP 2020. So friends, as I said earlier in the beginning of my presentation, that throughout this presentation I would be referencing the skeleton of NEP 2020. Already the skeleton and NEP 2020 is thoroughly explored by our earlier speakers along with our honorable principals. Now my focus would be on technology and digital education, because what is there for technology? Though we said that technology would replace the teachers, but as I said earlier, technology wouldn't replace the teachers. But technology, if it is in the hand of good teacher, definitely it would transform the teaching, learning, and assessment process. Definitely, it would transform the entire ecosystem of Indian education. So, friend, first point that is which is incorporated over there in technology and digital education, which is explored in NEP 2020 under the chapter 23 and 24. And what is that first point? Transform India into a knowledge economy through digitally empowered drive. So what kind of digital moves, steps you are incorporating in your TLA, that is teaching, learning, assessment, definitely will be instrumental to making your institute, your university, and by then your society a global leader in the field of digital or technology. As earlier speaker has emphasized that we have incorporated the MS Teams and what Moodle also. We are working on Moodle, but still we have to go beyond that. What other tools, web tools are there to incorporate in our teaching learning process and make it more 360-degree sensory one? Because the benefit of technology is what? If you use technology in your teaching learning process, then definitely it can be multi-sensory. Means what? The visual learners, means when we are talking about our class, a different variety of learners can be there. Few can be visual learners. When you are using animations, you are catering to their needs. Other kinesthetic learners are there. When you are using animations and other things, or when you are giving experiential learning, then definitely you are catering the needs of kinesthetic learners, because kinesthetic learners can learn, understand better if they go through their experience. Then after that, you can have readerly learners, those who believe in understanding the text if they read the text. If you are having group discussions, demonstrations, or extempo and the extempo speeches, then definitely you are catering the needs and requirements of your readerly learners. Means when you are looking at the diverse needs of your class, and if you are incorporating your technology, then definitely you are catering the needs of each and every learner. And there we need to think about CAP. That is what? Cognitive abilities, how to develop, groom, mentor, foster the cognitive abilities of your learners, along with what? Attitudinal analysis. Because, you know, affective domain of learning is the most important one, because that affective domain of learning affect the attitude and outlook or approach of your learners. Because nowadays we always see that though the person is highly successful in the profession, as I earlier said, can be most of the times crumble down in his personal life. A lot of in news also, newspapers also, we can see that though the person, the candidate is meritorious, but only because of trifle failure, sometimes he or she commits suicide. Why such kind of things are happening around us? Only because of affective domain is weaker in present educational policies, and there we need to work. If we try to change the affective domain, then definitely the approach, the outlook, and the attitude of learners would be transformed. And then P, that is what? Psychomotor skills. When we are talking about the skills, we are talking about the motor skills only. But what about the psychological skills? There also room is there to improve ourselves and mentor our learners. So friends, second point, when it comes to technology and digital education under chapter 23 and 24 is what? Technology for education, improvement and transformation. As I said earlier, the first point why earlier educational policies become obsolete or outdated or bygone is this one, the technology. Because when 35 years back, our 1985 policy was introduced, the role of technology, disruptive role of technology was not taken into consideration or account. But today, technology has disrupted every aspect, I mean constructively disrupted every aspect of human life and behavior. So today we have incorporated technology everywhere. For example, the best example is AI. In every sphere of life, AI is there. Next, and that technology we are going to incorporate where? For education, transformation of education, improvement of education, and transformation of our learners through transformation of TLA, that is teaching, learning, assessment. So friends, third point, the most crucial one, that is what technology enabled education for assessment and research. Nowadays, we are moving towards what use of technology in research. But friends, for the assessment also, we have to focus on technology. Though we have incorporated technology for the teaching and learning process, but when it comes to assessment, still we believe that manual assessment would be far better. But there we have to bring a change, because new NEP 2020 incorporates that even for the assessment, formative assessment also, we have to incorporate that technology and its role. And on the basis of technology, why for assessment technology is important? Because for assessment, if we incorporate technology, then definitely our assessment would be what very objective, factual, because human mind has its own limitations. So it's better to move towards technology enabled assessment. When it comes to next point, the new NEP focuses on what? Continuing, lifelong, sustainable, and tech-enabled education. As I said earlier, these are the keywords, buzzwords of new NEP. Continuing means after 12th, suppose that a particular learner has done 1 year course, and with that certificate, if he or she takes exit, then after 5 years, if he is coming, not only this institute, but anywhere across India, then that adult learner can continue his education. So it is what? Continuing lifelong education. Present educational policy doesn't have such kind of flexibility. Suppose that at present someone has come and done first year of the pharmacy, and that person after 3 years gap again coming here, he would or she would not be entertained, and absolutely he or she won't pursue that degree anywhere other institute. Then if she emphasizing continuing, then he or she has to continue from the first year. And sustainable, that is, it is continued till you wish, and this is what technology enabled one. And the fifth point that is incorporated in this chapter is what? It envisages what? Building intellectual and institutional capacities in educational technologies. Today, we acknowledge the fact that all kinds of, all educational institutes are not furnished with excellent infrastructure to make their teaching learning process technology enabled or to drive on the surf of technology. But provision is there, robust mechanism is there in this NEP 2020 to build institutional capacities to cater the need of 21st century technology. And also they need to build their intellectual space in that way. Friend, and looking the need of technology to drive on the surf of technology, the provision of what? National Educational Technology Forum, that is NETF, is there. And this board, this organization or apex body of technology would cater the need of all kind of technology required for education to be incorporated in education. So friends, moving ahead, chapter 23-24, which of NEP 2020, which is completely devoted to technology and digital education, focuses on, as earlier speaker has focused on what? Blending of traditional courses, that is flipped classroom as well as blended classroom. Though together we use them, but a big difference is there between flipped and blended classroom. What difference is there? Later we are going to explore that difference. But here, this chapter focuses on what? Blending traditional courses. Whatever traditional courses today we are running, a better blend would be there with what? Professional and vocational. Means today such kind of flexibility is not there, bringing your professional course, bringing your vocational course and traditional course under one umbrella. But nowadays, since the introduction of NPTEL, that is National Program on Technology Enabled Learning and SWAYAM platform, the government of India has taken that initiative, bringing together diverse multidisciplinary courses. But believe that our aim should not be to the verge of that word multidisciplinary. We have to be transdisciplinary. Second point that is incorporated over there, that is what we need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. What is that process? That is learning, unlearning, and relearning. Whatever we have learned, when the technology is incorporated, we have to forget that. We have to unlearn ourselves. Though we say that change is better, but it is very difficult to get rid of the old ideas. Change is always welcome, but it is very unwelcome for us to get out of earlier ideas. So there we need to unlearn ourselves. When we can relearn, if we unlearn ourselves from old, outdated, bygone ideas. And there we need to focus on CAP, that is what cognitive abilities of learners, changing affective domains of learners, and mentoring, fostering psychomotor skills, focusing on CASH, that is knowledge abilities, attitudinal analysis, as well as skills, both skills, that is the motor skills and soft skills, and habits. We need to inculcate the winning habits amongst our learners. Then and then only the process of learning, unlearning, and relearning is possible. And there we need to ask ourselves, and what is that ask? That is attitude, skill, and knowledge. What kind of attitude we have imbibed, what kind of skills we have fostered, and what kind of knowledge we have imparted to our learners. So friends, online quality education, the major focus of this chapter 23 and 24 would be what? That is online quality education through ideal, means in new NEP, that provision is there, that institute can establish and run its own ideal cell, that is Institute Distance Learning Program, wherein equal quality education, face-to-face physical quality education, as it have quality, even that face to non-face education also will have that quality, that an ideal will cater the needs of that quality with digital infrastructure and online web-based tools. And that's why incorporation of technology is the most essential one. And when it comes to next point, that is e-content creation. That is the most important thing. When you are incorporating technology in our TLA, teaching learning assessment, we need to think about e-content, whether it is quality oriented or not, whether it is created or not. If it is created and quality oriented, then whether it incorporate all 4 quadrants introduced by UGC or today's Ministry of Education and earlier MHRD, means all these quadrants, quality and creation, we have to consider when we are talking about e-content generation and creation. And for that, digital repositories, as we are talking about ABC, that is academic credit of transfer, we are talking about the digital repository. Even today, we have digital e-portfolios or digital lockers in the form of email is also a kind of a digital locker today. And last, that is dissemination. Once you have created your e-content, when it is according to the quality and the quadrants, all 4 quadrants introduced by MOE, then you have to disseminate. And through what you can disseminate your knowledge? You can disseminate through IDL, that is Institute Distance Learning Cell, and then the virtual lab. If you today go on the website of ministry, then you can see lots of portals are there. For example, Shodh Ganga, Shodh, Gangotri, then Swayamprabha, Diksha, a lot of things are there, wherein you can see how to give your learners virtual experiential experience. Physically, it's not possible as we are going through the pandemic of COVID-19, but virtually they can have that kind of virtual experience. And that area which is always darkened under the shade of what? Only physical interaction will explore or impart foster the experiential learning. But since we are locked down, we have to unravel, we have to uncover that area of virtually experiential learning of labs. And 6 points, as my earlier speakers also emphasized on blended and flipped model. So friends, though we have feeling that physical environment of education system will impart very easily qualitative oriented education, but we have to shift ourselves to where blended and flipped models, because various surveys done so far have explored that comparatively to traditional teaching learning methods and models, the blended and flipped model has its own and far more benefits compared to its disadvantages and compared to traditional educational models. So traditional educational model, that is face-to-face learning, is outdated in today's era. Along with, flipped and blended models, along with what? Online assessment and ease of learning, that is most important thing. So friends, when we are talking about the chapter 20, which is completely devoted to what? Professional education, then we need to think about what is given for the professional education. First point that is incorporated over there is what? Creating digital infrastructure. As I said earlier, that is one apex body to cater the need of technology would be scaled up, and that body, that organization would cater the needs of all organizations which are imparting quality education across the disciplines. Today, it is the fact, unavoidable, bitter truth that only few education institutes do have very robust technology enabled mechanism and infrastructure, and lots of more than around 80% educational institutes today don't have technology enabled infrastructure. And when we are talking about technology enabled teaching learning process, first we have to make our infrastructure robust, and through what we can create, through creating digital infrastructure, digital education content creation, and building the capacities, technology capacities of every organization and institute under that apex body of technology. Then the adult education and lifelong sustainable learning. This point already I have explored a lot. When it comes to professional education, today, as I said earlier, professional education has given a divorce from what? Ethics, human values, and public purpose. Nowhere you can see the affiliation between professional education and public purpose. But today, if you read NEP 2020, there this point is incorporated under the chapter professional education must be affiliated, related to public purpose. There the research comes into picture. And when we are talking about the professional education, it no more should be mercantile only. The commercial, as I said earlier, the tab is there to curb the commercialization, corruption in professional education, and inculcating or fostering human values and ethics. And when it comes to another aspect, that aspect would be the most important one, that is what? Holistic and multidisciplinary education. As I said earlier, and earlier speakers also focused on that, as on what account that multidisciplinary and holistic education would be there, when there wouldn't be any unitary stand-alone higher education institutes. Means the name of the college would be what in NEP 2020? Only higher education institutes or multidisciplinary institute or organization. And next point is what? It aims, that chapter 20 under professional education aims to build a robust education ecosystem that would cater the 21st needs of 21st skilled employable India, dreamed by APJ. And sixth point, that is assessment of educational approaches to integrate arts, humanities, and STEM. What is that STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Today they are divorced to one another. But if you see our ancient education system, that is 16 Vedas and 64 Kalas, means they were incorporated. If you see the Gurukul system and ashrams, all kinds of psychomotor skills and cognitive domains and disciplines and faculties were put together under one umbrella. And our journey is towards that. When we are talking about multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary, what we are talking about, just like a Gurukul system, bringing all skills together, bringing all educational approaches together to define and transform ourselves into a technology-enabled, robust mechanism of education. And for then the natural and spontaneous question can be there, what is there for health education? Friends, for the health education in NEP 2020, the emphasis is there on what? Preventive health care of community medicine, along with what impact of technology on human endeavors. As I said, no sphere, no corner of human life is escapable from the impact of technology, and that is very well taken into consideration by NEP 2020 to erode this silos between healthcare, technical, and other disciplines. Because in today's educational policy, the healthcare is nowhere affiliated with arts and humanities and mathematics, but tomorrow it may be affiliated and closely related or shoulder to shoulder work with all these other disciplines. In the NEP 2020 for healthcare education, overhaul, I mean what, a modification and rectification to what design its course, its duration and structure. When they will have autonomy, definitely they will define their own andragogy and all these things which I mentioned over here. And last and the robust step would be there that would be undertaken is what, integrative healthcare system. That would be over there. And when it comes to transformation in educational regulatory system, friends, the apex body, today's UGC and another PCI would be abolished. There would be only one higher education regulatory system, and that would be HECI. It's what? National Education Commission of India, and under that all other organizations would be there. That is National Higher Education Regulatory Council, along with National Accreditation Council. Today's NAC and NBA would be outdated by then, by 2035, and NEC would be there, along with HAGC. And what is that? Today's, if anyone wants to have grants for research and other purposes later by 2035, then HEGC would cater the needs. That is National Education Grants Council would be there to cater that needs, and GEC, that is General Educational Council. This is what would be the framework of Indian education system by 2035. So friends, thank you very much for patiently listening to my presentation here. Before having exit, I would like to offer my thanks to the convener of this workshop, Honorable Dr. Samir Goyal sir, principal of our college. Also, I am thankful to the coordinator of this workshop for providing me an opportunity to interact with you, or Dr. Kiran Iyer sir. Also, I am very much indebted to the management of SVKM giving me opportunity to be here to interact with you. Thank you very much.